Let's get into it. Our becoming conversation. December has that flavor where, that tiredness can be seeping in, and everyone is trying to say, how do I keep going? How do I take that extra mile? Today we're going to be looking into the simple mood boosters, the tiny feel-good moments that lift your vibe when you officially over the year, but still trying to look a little bit cute, right? We're speaking to Nasreen Cariem, who is an occupational therapist, mental health, productivity, and performance specialist. Nasreen, thank you for joining us right here on Channel Africa.
Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm actually feeling good this December. We still have a bit to go, right? Not all of us are feeling, the flavor of the month right now. Maybe the year has been challenging, or maybe you've looked back and you're like, I have achieved so much, but still I'm feeling that, I need that little booster until the end of the year. What do we do at this time of the year to just stay on track?
I think that that's such a relevant question right now because it's something that many people have actually asked me. We have year end and it comes with so many mixed feelings. When it comes to the new year, people are all about my New Year's resolution is going to be this and I'm going to achieve that. And people are always so filled with anticipation when it comes to New Year. And then when we reach year end, it's often filled with lots and lots of mixed feelings. Sometimes we are feeling, of course, we're celebrating because it's the end of the year. But at the same time, sometimes people are going through things, and hardship can sometimes actually reflect as being louder when it comes to year end. So I always say that it's so important for us to celebrate the wins, right? Focus on the wins. Try to, no matter what we are all going through, whether it's highs or lows, to start by focusing on the wins. Think about what did we actually achieve this year that went well, and focus on that, and make that your victory for the year.
Yeah.
It's not about quantity, it's all about quality. And even if it was one success story for the year, to actually focus on that and rather revel in that I was able to get that right. And if I was able to do that, who knows what the next year will actually bring for me.
Yeah.
So celebrate your wins, reflect on the good stuff, and focus on self-care because come on, surviving is also a
Amen.
big win,
Hallelujah
isn't
to
it?
that.
Nasreen, it wasn't particularly a long year for all of us. It wasn't particularly a hard year for all of us. Some people actually
Yes.
spent the year having a good time. They enjoyed the year. Had a successful year. But that also doesn't still remove you from the fact that you could be tired. It's the end of the year. And even if it was a good year, you could still be feeling that fatigue. And I think we have this thing where when one is feeling fatigued, we want to over-motivate them and say, don't worry, push, you can do it. But yeah, even the motivators are a little bit tired at this time of the year. So what are small actionable things that we can do on a daily basis around this time of the year that can keep us going until we wrap up?
I think it's very important to keep moving, both literally as well as figuratively. So, it's so important to practice exercise, healthy exercise and eating. Please do not underestimate the importance of that. So keep your fitness levels up. Yes, it might be year end. And like you said, people's motivators are tired as well. But we want to keep moving. We want to keep the blood pumping. We want to exercise and be our best at the same time. And I always say a very good year end ritual is to declutter and organize. So clean out those closets, out with the old, in
Sure.
with the new. It's a nice way to reset yourself because, let's face it, hoarding is never attractive, right? So we want to be able to really declutter, and actually in doing that, maybe allow yourself to give back, give of yourself, even if it's in a small way,
Sure.
to people who need it. There's always that inner reward that comes from giving. And I think that the festive season is all about giving. So get moving, get giving, practice gratitude. If we actually wake up every morning and we focus on what we are thankful for, whether it's that plate of food that we have, whether it's the gift of life or the gift of health, or focusing on what we are able to do. Maybe it's have the loved ones that we have, or friends and relatives, or maybe it's the work, maybe it's our careers. But to wake up in the morning every day and focus on what we are thankful for, even if it's one thing, when we look at all of the positivity around us, and if we try and stay focused on the positives, often we'll find that it outweighs any negative. So I would say a good way to stay motivated is to focus on the positives, what we are thankful for, and to actually write it down and journal them. And it's a good way when we actually write it down to actually see, oh, wow, I'm actually way better off than I realized, you know? And, treat yourself, practice self-care, practice mindfulness. And even if it's, we don't even have to. Some of us are traveling, some of us are planning getaways, but even if we aren't by the means to travel, even if it means just a little escape away somewhere, whether it's the beach, whether it's the place that you find brings you peace. Remember, when we look at what brings one inner peace, it looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
So to actually focus on what brings oneself uniquely that inner peace, it's amazing how it can make such a big difference and give one an incredible boost.
I love that, because we can get so muddled up in our heads with the challenges of the year. We can also be so fixated on, I wonder what the new year actually brings. But I love that you centering this conversation around the idea of gratitude and being thankful, right, for where you are right now. But how do you channel that energy in, because at times like the situations and the circumstances that people find themselves in can be so overwhelming. I know and I really believe that gratitude is an overpowering energy, and I think it actually brings you into a different space of being, right? But how do you actually center yourself to accessing that gratitude?
And, I think it's a very relevant question, because when we go through hardship, automatically it's very difficult to find that inner positivity and to really, really, focus on gratitude, especially if we aren't feeling it in that moment. I mean, we are human at the end of the day. So I think it's important to allow oneself to experience those feelings, whether it's a negative emotion or whether it's, emotions are part of what makes us human. So it's important to validate oneself in what we are feeling. And it's important to allow ourselves to deal with the emotions that we are facing. And once we actually allow ourselves to confront that, whether it's by ourselves or whether it's with a loved one or a friend or that colleague that you are able to chat to about personal things. And I would say that once you allow yourself to deal with it, you will find some kind of relief. And in that relief, often with relief comes gratitude. So it's so important to not avoid the feelings that we experience if it's sadness or if it's hardship, but to rather face them head on, as hard as it might be, or to deal with it in a way that feels right to you, whether it is through going on a hike or meditating or whatever it might be, connecting with nature, journaling, planning a little getaway, or just treating yourself. But once you've actually allowed yourself to deal with that, you will find that you will start looking at things in a different way. So I would definitely encourage people to face what you're going through, but don't sit there for too long. Allow yourself to then move over to the point of, you know what, this might be happening at this moment in time. However, I've got this going for me and I've got that going for me. And
Absolutely.
by the time you actually by the time you reach the end of that, you realize, oh, wow, you know what? I'm going to be okay. I'm actually all right.
I love that.
I would say, yeah.
Nasreen, let's take a break. We'll come back and have this conversation. And I think it's a beautiful one, especially at this time of the year. Let's take a break. We'll be back after this.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Swahili. Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Occupational therapist Nasreen Cariem joins us on the line to speak about simple mood boosters, tiny feel-good moments that can lift our vibe at this time of the year, especially if you are officially over it and you're just like, this year can end, I'm ready for the next one, I am tired. Nasreen, let's speak about that, because you spoke about some of the little actions that we can do, the journaling, the soft spaces that we can help ourselves in, but how can we show up for one another at this time of the year? What are small ways that we can even show up for our friends, our family members, our colleagues, to also keep the momentum pushing in a communal way?
So I always believe that it's important to check in on each other. I always maintain that. And in many of my talks, I always say to people that, never underestimate the power of asking somebody, are you okay? Never underestimate the power, because, you could be actually making a big difference to someone's day. There could be somebody who doesn't have anyone to talk to, and you showing interest and you showing that compassion, it could make a big difference in their lives and in their day. So I would say check in with your colleagues, ask them how they're doing, ask them if they're okay. If you see that you have a friend that has been quiet for some time, check in with them and see how they're doing. It's so important that I think we are all very busy and we get caught up in our work and our lives and our routines, but it's important to check in on people and make sure that they're doing okay, because we never know when people are going through something, and we never know if they have people to talk to or if they have someone that they feel comfortable to confide in. And it might just be you. It might just be you that has that ability to really shift their mindset and put them in a better place. And who knows, maybe perhaps set them for the festive season, that they can actually feel much better and have a way to move forward.
Yeah, I love that. Well, just because it's December, it doesn't mean that, we can be over it, but the year isn't over yet. That means that we still have the same responsibilities we had throughout the year. Many of us are still at work and we still need to show up as our best selves. We still have to show up for our families, our children, our friends. We still have to show up in so many different ways. And because of that, we may feel like, you know what, it doesn't matter if I'm doing these small things. I still have to be all these other things that have made me tired throughout the year. Where's that sense of balance that we can find in continuing to show up for those things because they're important and they're not going anywhere anytime soon, but also doing them in a way that still keeps us fulfilled, still keeps us relaxed and going?
I think it's important to, whatever we are doing, to actually find meaning and purpose in it. Sometimes we are just tired and it's difficult to find meaning in what we're doing. But I think when we really try and we look at it and we look at where we actually are and how far we have come, I think even that in itself brings new meaning to what we're doing. I think it's so important to stay focused on our purpose and to find that sense of inner meaning and what we are able to bring, whether it's just to our families or whether it's just to our friends or whether it's in the form of the work that we do. I think it's so important to focus on what am I actually doing right? What am I doing great? And when we look at that, to actually apply that to what we are doing on a daily basis, we will see that, there's so much meaning to what we do on a daily basis rather than it being mundane.
Mm-hmm. But also, let's also think about the year is around us, and those are the feelings that we are also navigating at this time. How do we center that feeling?
Well, with it being year end, I think that it's also a good time to, if there is still something that you would like to achieve, it's, what I've noticed is that so many people are still trying to get those last networking meetings in. I mean, even though it's all like the world is really switching off. I always say it's never too late. So if there's something that you still wish to actually make happen, it's never too late. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to mean that it has to. There's a deadline on it. I would encourage everyone to go for it. If there's something that you still wish to achieve, go for it and actually just give your all to it. And you never know. If people are still doing networking meetings now, you can definitely still achieve that goal to set it for the end of the year.
Sure. Okay. Let's wrap things up. Let's find out where we can find you, Nasreen. Where can people connect with you online?
Okay, so you can get hold of me on www.otkeystotheuniverse.co.za. That's all one word, www.otkeystotheuniverse.co.za.
All right, fantastic, Nasreen.
All right.
Thank you for giving us your time. This has been so helpful. Thank you for reminding us to be grateful and to really not forget some of the great benefits. But I love the fact that you also highlighted, let's look outwards as well and, extend our hands to others in this time. It's a good time also not to forget that there are those around us who are in need. So thank you for such great messaging today.
It's only my pleasure, and I wish you all a wonderful year in and a wonderful festive, and look forward to catching up soon.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
That's Nasreen Cariem, occupational therapist, mental health, productivity, and performance specialist.